Alright, today we're going to talk about Cartesian divers, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to make one, and I'm going to also show you how it works, and then we're going to discuss a little bit of why it works and see if you can't figure out some of the other principles behind it as well. Alright, so first things first, what do we need? Well, we need straw, or a pen cap, or a balloon. You can make it out of all sorts of things. I'm using a straw today because I find that is the easiest way to make one. The best straws to find are these bendy straws. Right? If you can find them, they're all over supermarkets. So you can find them there. If not, you can go to McDonald's, just pick up a straw there, and you can use it this way. You can use a straight straw as well. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. All right. So best thing to do is use that bendy straw, bend it right at its apex, right around that curved part. Make sure they're equal. I've already cut these so they're equal. And you can use a rubber band to put it around there. I find that's a little bit more difficult, so I just use masking tape. In order to have masking tape, you're just going to make sure it's nice and dry. Okay? And I just wrap it around the ends so that they stay. It doesn't have to be too crazy tight or anything like that. So you can see I still have the holes that are open at the end. I just have it set up just like this. Okay. You can also do it with just a straight straw. Now this is a bit of a small piece, but what you want to do is you kind of pinch it in the center and then make the turn around it, so it'll look like something like this. That'll keep the straw from cracking and make it a lot easier so that water won't get in when you put it into the water. And it'll look exactly like this. Okay. All right. So once I've made my cut and I have mine folded over and I have the tape on it, now I'm just going to take some paper clips and put them in there. And the reason we put these in there is so that we make this object to where it's just about ready to sink. The diver, you want it to be just about ready to sink, but not completely. So it should be almost just floating there. And we base it on the Archimedes principle, right? That the buoyant force is equal to the water that the object displaces. Right? So the buoyant force of this right here, this Cartesian diver that I've made, is going to be equal to the water that it displaces in order for it to float. And before I put it into my bottle, I'll usually use a cup here just so I can see how it floats. And that's pretty much about perfect. I use both of these. They're pretty much perfect. You want it to just be under that area where it will just about float. And if it's just right there, sometimes you can just kind of push out a little bit of the air to make it sink just a little bit more so it's perfect. So now I know that it is buoyant. I know that it floats, and that's exactly what I want it to be. Now I'm going to take it out of this cup. I'm going to put it into my large container of water, which is the other part you need. You need basically a liter of water, or a liter of soda bottle, which is what I've done. I just had it extra here. All right, and then we put the Cartesian diver in. All right, but they're not finished here. This water needs to be up at the top, because we need it to be up at the top to basically, we don't want to lose any pressure anywhere else. So I put it right to the top, and I'm good to go. Okay. Again, I'll show you with this one as well. All right, this kind of a bottle works as well. All right, it's a little bit different shape, but it still works. Take it out. Put my diver in. But that's not going to work because I didn't fill it with water, so I want to fill it up with water all the way to the top. Perfect. All right, and then I'll put this. And now you can see that these are pretty filled up and that my objects are floating, correct? Yes, they are. Now watch. Will they continue to float? This one I can't. I keep slipping on this. Okay, but you look, you see? They're both floating. I'm going to use this one because it's a little easier for me to use with one hand. Okay? So you can see that I make my object, my diver, I can make it sink all the way down. I can make it go all the way to the top, or I can even just kind of make it hover right in the middle. This is where we have what's called neutral buoyancy, and it's when the mass of the object equals the mass of the water that it displaces. Okay, so there it's equal to the mass of the water that it displaces. Now this is all built on a principle called Boyle's law, where we talk about pressure and volume. Okay, you'll learn about this later on, but as I increase the pressure around here, around the bottle, the volume has to increase, or decrease, I'm sorry. We increase pressure and we decrease the volume, okay? So as I'm squeezing, the volume of what's in this bottle has to go somewhere. Where does it go? Well, remember, we did not put any water into that straw, right? That's air. And you can't really see it from where you are, but when you do this on your own, you'll be able to see it. As I squeeze, my air gets compressed in the straw, okay? Making this straw more dense, right? And remember, when we say we make this more dense, we put more molecules, in this case of water, into our straw. And as we increase its density, it's going to what? It's going to sink, right? Something that's less dense floats. When it becomes more dense, it sinks. So how does this relate to maybe boats? How does it relate to maybe submarines? I'm going to tell you this. For my class, and the other teachers can do this if they want, but for my class, if you can tell me how this principle, Archimedes' principle and this principle of buoyancy, works in a submarine, I will give you 10 extra points. But you got to tell me why. You can't just tell me, well, yeah, it works in the submarine. Well, yeah, I know that. Why does it work in a submarine? If you can figure that out, I will give you 10 bonus points for my class only. That's up to your teachers to do it for my classes. I'm going to be doing that, okay? So I hope you enjoyed. This is a lot of fun to play with. You can actually even have a good time. And you ask your parents, say this is a truth serum thing, and say, well, if you ask me something and it'll tell me the truth, this thing will sink. And if they ask a question you want to say they don't want to answer, say that like you don't want to clean your room, you let it float at the top, and it says, well, we can go get ice cream. Oh yeah, it says you're telling the truth. Look at that. A little fun with that. Okay, so enjoy doing this. It's really easy to do. It's a fun little project. Little brothers and sisters will love it, and you will too. So something to enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm trying to get another video set up for our lab, and we will go on from there. Have a great afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow.